Well, good afternoon and welcome to a solo camp in the woods. I've got my Dutch Army tent out. Few reasons. One, I haven't used it for a while and I do really like it. But two, the last couple of nights it's been quite chilly. A bit chilly, a bit windy. So yeah, I thought slightly warmer tent. And also, you probably can't see from that angle, I've got my slightly warmer trousers on. Now this has proved to be a mistake already. It was cold and miserable first thing this morning. By the time I got in the truck at lunchtime, the sun had come out. By the time I got to where I park on the edge of the woodland, it's 24 degrees. My legs are a bit warm, but never mind. Prefer to be warm than cold. Accommodation set up. Good old Dutch Army tent. We're a bit saggy and creased there. It's not how I like to set it up. I'd be more concerned if it was going to rain, to be honest. Whenever you get creases and things like that, it's places where water can puddle and potentially leak. Tonight, dry forecast, not really an issue. I've tried adjusting all over the place, and the only reason that's got that crease through there is because of the ground. It's just so uneven here, on a slight slope that way, slight slope that way, and for all the adjusting in the world, I can't compensate for that. But it will do for a dry night. That's not an issue. So inside, no worry about, ground cover underneath or anything like that. These have got such a thick bathtub floor on them. Just got my sleep mat in there and my Andy's barrel bag. Now I haven't used that over a year, maybe 2 years, I don't know. I've got way too many sleeping bags, but I thought that would be pretty good for tonight, because we're in that funny sort of situation where it can be chilly overnight, but it's not freezing cold. That's, I suppose, technically a 3-season bag, but with its barrel shape, you've got a lot of room in it, so you don't actually get sort of too hot. You've got room to move about, and also because of the barrel shape, it tapers head and foot end, so my pillow's going to stay in the hood area without losing my pillow. But where it's wide in the middle, being a side sleeper, when I turn on my side, I tend to sort of tuck my knees up a little bit. There's a generous amount of width. In some of my sleeping bags, if I turn to my side and sort of curl up a little bit, I've quite noticed like my bum's tight on one side and my knees are like tight on the other side. And whenever you're sort of like stretching the fabric like that, that's when you're losing the insulation, because you're squashing the edges of the bag. It's not able to loft as well. The shape of that, I can turn on my side and it's still sort of look nice and loose all over me. A bit more like the duvet at home. So yeah, I'm looking forward to using that bag. So it's been a long time since I've used it, and I've always got on well with it. So let's hope tonight is the same. Right, now all setup's done. It's time for a cheeky beer, take 5 in my chair, and think about the next part of the video. Because I came out with a purpose to make a segment of video, and because it's an information type one, I want to get right. No good giving out duff information, is it? Now, as much as I've been camping for, well, more years than I care to mention, we're probably looking at, what am I, 55 now? So, approaching 40 years. I know the information and the stuff that I want to get across up here. It's just how I put it together that it will make sense to people out there, rather than me just rambling like an idiot. YouTube's not as simple as some people think, So yeah, I'm going to sit here and have a think about it, how I'm going to film it, where I'm going to put the camera, and a basic script, I suppose, to make sure I get the important points across without too much waffle, if that's even possible for me. I'll get back to you in a minute. Well, why have I chosen this camping location? To start off with, we're on a bit of a bank here, but it is terraced, so there is various flat spots where I can go. Most importantly, it's an east facing slope. Now that won't be necessarily important everywhere, but for me on the south coast, our wind, our weather predominantly comes in westerly or occasionally southerly. So east facing slope, if the weather changes, it's a bit more protected, quite simply. Let's look at some other considerations that I've made. Well, first off, where the tripod is standing, where you are viewing from, is where I had my teepee tent a few weeks back. It's not a bad location, it's quite flat. But from this point, I'm able to point out a few things. Top of the hill there, not that far away, but if you're up on that rise, you're going to get that westerly wind if it gets rough. The other thing, have you got permission to be where you are? No, I haven't. On the top of that hill, I'm going to stand out. It's as simple as that. And God forbid if you have a fire, be like a beacon, like a lighthouse. So, no, I'm not going on the top of the hill. It's always best to come off the hill, if at all possible. You don't get spotted, you're more sheltered. I bloody hate too much wet camping in the wind, especially in an environment like this, because it's unmanaged. Whenever it gets rough, there's trees coming down, and I don't want to be underneath one, quite simply. So yeah, top of the hill, not for me. Now let's spin the camera around. There's the tree with a big burl on the bottom. That's where I was camping the other week. And today I'm down there. Let me adjust you a little bit, like that. There, centre shot. I'm sure you can see my blue chair. Let's zoom in a bit. Won't zoom in too much because it goes all pixelated. But yeah, so I'm down there today. I just thought it'd be a nice little spot for a change. Again, a little bit further down the hill, even more sheltered, more top cover with the trees and that sort of thing. So I'm more in shadow. I've just basically, I don't stick out so much. It's more sheltered, more discreet, shall we say. Now, let's move down to where I'm camping and look at something else. Okay, so this is my spot, sheltered under the trees. Quite pleasant, not perfectly flat, but it'll do. It's not terrible. The other side of the fallen tree, there's a lovely little valley, little woodland glen, stream in the bottom. Looks lovely down there. Let's go down. Right, we're down in the bottom of the valley. We've got the little stream, although there's not much of it running now. It's been dry for months. This is the sort of place that you often see on videos because it looks pretty. Perfect for my Instagram, you know, the sort of thing. But in reality, No, just no. We haven't had rain for months, not proper rain. You know, the odd damp night, but no. It's been predominantly dry for months. In fact, the water shortage is getting a bit serious in places. Parts of it down here, it's still soft and boggy. This is the lowest point in the woodland. Whatever rain there is, it's all going to drain down into here. The other thing with it being soft and boggy, with or without a stream, in the summer, bugs. The mosquitoes will eat you alive. Certainly in this wood. It's not pleasant in the summer being down in a hollow like this. It looks pretty, but that's about where it ends, to be honest. Bugs, still quite soft ground. I'm just not doing it. Flip side, winter camping. Now, going back to really basic science that we all did at school, hot air rises, cold air sinks. This will be the coldest spot in the whole forest. And it actually makes quite a dramatic, oh dear. Oh, he's turned the bugger off and gone the other way now. Sorry, carry on. Got distracted by the deer. It makes a dramatic difference being in a hollow like this. I actually did the experiment on this spot about 4 or 5 years ago, and I brought out a thermometer with me, and here was between 5 and 6 degrees colder than up there on the bank. And it was a chilly night, but not bad, you know, for me camping up there. Down here, frost had formed. It was, you know, around freezing here, where it was just chilly up there. So no, summer or winter, don't go right down in the bottom of a hollow. It's just not right. What more can I tell you? It's not right. Think about Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You don't want to be too low, you don't want to be too high, you want to be in the middle, because it's just right. Or at least that's my opinion. You do whatever you like. I'm not your dad, although I'm probably old enough. Right, now I've filmed that bit. I've done what I set out to do, and I'm going to go for a little wander. Now this, I suppose, follows on to what I was saying beforehand. Camping locations. The fact I can go for a wander and leave my gear behind is because I've picked the right location. How do I find my locations? Well, if you check in the top corner, be either that corner or that corner, I can't remember which one it's come up in. I'll put a link to a video I made years ago on how I find these spots. The other thing is with the wild camping, or potentially stealth camping, as some people like to get, you know, excited and call it. You hear a lot of this, you know, turn up late, leave early, and, you know, basically you're there in the dark, aren't you? Well, I don't like that. I like the opportunity to have a wander around and have a look at stuff and watch wildlife and that sort of thing. If you pick the right location, you can do that. Unless it's somewhere really, really tiny where there's a high chance of getting caught out, you really don't need to be super stealthy. Super stealthy, super stealthy. Cider's getting to me already. Well, we're back to the enclosure that I found a few months ago. Nothing's really changed. I don't know who did it, but see how all the branches are starting to sort of intertwine at the top there. Must be Bigfoot. I know I take the mickey out of Bigfoot. Bless him. I suppose while we're on the subject, let's just think. Bigfoot, UK, no. It's quite simply no. The wilder extremes of, North America, possibly. I have my own views on it, but it's more possible. UK, not a fucking hope. I'm sorry. Yeah, so you've got the trees there. They're all starting to lean in. And that's basically just the result of the debris that's been built up around the bottom there. Because they're only, skinny little things. They're quite flexy, like CD aerials. The weight of the wood on the outside has started to push them in. Still can't work out why this has been built. It's big. Someone's put in a lot of effort. It's about 10 metres across, sort of 30 foot, that sort of thing. The only other time I've seen something similar to this was when I was in South Africa. And they used it to sort of surround their animals and themselves, basically to keep predators out overnight. I believe they called it a boomer. That sort of, or something like that anyway, it springs to mind, but that was a lot of years ago, like 20 odd years ago. The reason this has been done, I mean, it might be as simple as the cubs or scouts were out here doing a bit of an exercise, or just kids playing about. I'm not against it. They haven't done any harm. They haven't sort of cut anything down. It's all been gathered up off the forest floor here. So, yeah, crack on. I just don't see why. Right, well, I'm just walking back to camp, and that just shows you quite how well that DPM, although it's not DPM as such, it's not English DPM, it's Dutch DPM, but they're very similar. How well that blends in. Can you see it there, central shot? Let me zoom you a little bit. There you go. Yes, quite nice. I mean, I'm only 100 feet away at the most. Yeah, we can live with that. Yeah, my view on the whole Bigfoot thing. It's just not the food for him here. It's as simple as that, really. Like I say, in somewhere big and remote, like parts of North America, yeah, there's the food source. It'd be more possible there. In the UK, not a chance. Which leads you on to another subject, really. In some of these groups, you talk about a lot of people wanting to just sort of like bug out into the woods, live in the woods. Quite how are they going to do that? Now, bear in mind how much you currently eat on a daily basis, and then think, coming out here, the amount of calories you're going to be burning, all the walking about, collecting water, processing firewood, filtering water, it's all effort. You're on the go constantly. You're going to, in general terms, burn more calories out here than you will at home. So you're going to eat more food or need more food than you've got at home on your plate. And where's that going to come from? Now, unless you're going to bring in a truckload of supplies from home when you bug out, as it were, it comes down to your food source eventually is going to be hunting and trapping. In an English woodland, good luck. It's not big enough. Most of the decent sized woodlands have been ruined. There isn't the same level of wildlife that our ancestors would have dealt with. So you're down to deer potentially, if you're good enough. But let's face it, 99% of the people aren't going to be good enough unless you're out here with a decent rifle. So what we're looking at, we're looking at potentially rabbits, although they tend not to be in the woodland, and if they are, they're right on the very edge because they want access to the fields. Squirrels, pigeons, well, there ain't a bloody lot on them. I hope you're going to catch a lot of them, and guaranteed to do that on a regular basis, otherwise you're going to starve. I mean, pigeon breasts, they're tiny. They're absolutely tiny. They're nice, but they're tiny. Squirrels, well, they're tree rats, aren't they, basically? There's not going to be a lot of meat on them. Yeah, it's all edible. But you're going to have to catch an awful lot of them. And to set out snare lines and all that sort of thing to catch an awful lot, you're going to need a lot of calories to do it. I don't see it working. I'm sorry to everybody that thinks they're going to bug out and survive in the woods. It's a piece of cake for a few days, but to actually do it properly, full time, it's the whole new game. And I suppose that brings me full circle back to the Bigfoot thing. If Bigfoot existed, and I'm not knocking it, it may. It's not here, but it may. A creature of that size, you think it's normally described as what, 7-8 feet tall, 400-500 pound in weight, maybe bigger. That's an awful lot of calories. That's a big body to fuel. There won't be enough food for him. And even then, unless it's some sort of mythical beast, there's going to need to be a breeding population. So if you've got, I don't know, 20 Bigfoots, how much food are they going to need? And they'd have to be constantly on the move, because they would strip an area of wildlife, berries, whatever it eats, very quickly. They'd be constantly moving. UK couldn't support that. Parts of North America? Yeah, maybe. That raises another question for me. I mean, we all know how popular hunting is in North America. Soon as, deer season opens or whatever, tens of thousands of Americans head into the woodland. Some people hunt all year round, of course. Why has no one shot Bigfoot? Personally, don't know what the ethics are. If I was in the middle of nowhere, but with a high-powered rifle, and something of that reported size came charging out of the woods, I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and make friends. I'm going to take it out. It's as simple as that. It's you might regret it afterwards, but spare of the moment, no. I'm not having that. So why hasn't one been shot? And also, everybody's got a mobile phone in their pocket nowadays. It's obviously what I'm using for filming now. Modern mobile phones. Photograph quality is very, very good. Even the video quality, even an old phone like mine, and mine is old, it's 5 or 6 years old, films in full HD. The more modern ones, they film in 4K, 8K. Why has no one got a decent bloody shot? It's always really long range or blurry or, you know, pixelated, and you think somebody would have got a decent picture by now, or video evidence. So yeah, I don't know. That's what puts the doubt in my mind. Is it possible? Yes. Let's face it, we didn't find the mountain gorillas until, you know, I can't think when that was. Maybe 20 years ago. The mountain gorillas have obviously always been there, but nobody knew they were there because it was a remote area. Bigfoot could be the same, but I have my doubts. Certainly for the UK, no. But America, maybe. What can you find in the UK? Well, the biggest physical thing would be the deer, obviously. The biggest thing that could potentially give you any hassle, although they tend to avoid you, would be a wild boar, although they are very few and far between. There's not many regions where we have wild boar here, and even then they tend to stay well out your way. They really do. The only time you'll have hassle with wild boar is if they've got young with them, and you know, you come up upon them suddenly and they've sort of got no way out type situation. They will always run, but yeah, they can be aggressive when they've got young. So yeah, there's not really much in the UK to worry about, is there? And I know a lot of people, when they start camping, worry about such things. Well, there's only really one thing to worry about camping in UK, and that's people. So yeah, choose your camp carefully, and keep it wild, keep it somewhere remote ideally. So yeah, just avoid the people. They're the biggest threat. I have no idea what that is. I just hope the camera can pick it up. And there's not too much bloody traffic noise. Very strange. I'll move the camera around the other way. And if something moves, shows itself, I'll try and get it on film. I hope you can hear that. It's a funny little cry. It's almost cat-like. And I mean little cat, not big cat. Very odd. The squirrels are having a right game up in these trees. They've come really, really close. A couple of them come sort of just behind the tent when I was sitting there quietly reading just now. Maybe that was the sort of mewing sort of noise, cat type noise I heard earlier. But I've never heard a squirrel make that noise before. They normally sort of squeak and chatter a little bit sort of thing, but no, I don't know what that was all about. I keep thinking, you know, all this movement behind me, it'd be the deer or something like that. It's not, it's just the bloody squirrels. They're all over the place at the moment. getting ready for the colder weather, I suppose. They've got to make hay while the sun shines, don't they? Stock their larder for the winter. Time for coffee. Oh, it's a bit hot. Might have to keep that for a little bit. We are, where are we? About 6:15. It's actually turned a little bit cooler, so I've put my jacket on, which is why I've made myself a warm drink. I'm just sitting here reading, and I'll do dinner soon, but not quite yet. Let's have a little bit longer of coffee and reading first, and then I'll get dinner on. It's nothing exciting, but you know, there you go. Now, did you hear that? No, that wasn't Bigfoot doing a tree knock. I've been hearing for the last 5 minutes or so. Someone is processing wood, and I know where they are, because straight through there, about, so think from here, 200-ish meters, maybe a little more, is the old bushcraft camp where you've seen the camp, especially solos, the one with the big fallen tree in the background. I know someone else has been using the camp, which I have no problem with. It's not like we own it, don't own the wood or whatever. As long as people don't make a mess, it's no big deal, is it? But yeah, someone's at the bushcraft camp. Not that they're going to know that I'm here. No chance. Dinner time. We have steak, vegetables and dumplings. I've had this before plenty of times. It's actually pretty good really for a ration type thing. It's one of the dumplings. It's going to be hot as hell. Oh, yes, it was hot. Tastes all right though. Yeah, you don't want to watch this. I'll see you in a bit. Right, it's just before 9 o'clock. I've just made myself a last coffee. I'm going to go to bed early, and because the main reason is bank holiday weekend, seaside town. It's going to be chaos. The traffic heading into town is going to be a nightmare in the morning. So I want to get up early, pack up and get out before all the lunatics are on the road. It's nice living in a seaside town, but not quite so much when you get invaded on a bank holiday. It's good for the shops, but you know, just makes getting everywhere difficult. So I don't want that in the morning. So I'm going to just leave early. Right, all zipped up inside. It is about 9:10-ish. I can still hear motorbikes coming into the town on the main road. I don't know if the camera picks it up. Really? Is there any need to make that much bloody noise? I mean, I'm probably half a mile from the main road, and it's like, I know they always use the excuse, don't they? Oh, we like to make a lot of noise so, you know, people can be aware of us, you know, so they don't pull out in front of you, all this sort of thing. Personally, I think it's more of this, oh, look at me culture. When I had a motorbike, I used to run mine as quiet as possible, because the quieter you are, the more you can get away with. But hey, that was just me. Right, off to bed, early start. See you later. Good morning. Well, it's about 6 o'clock. I wasn't quite intending getting up and about this early, but I've just had the muntjac deer come obviously quite close to the tent outside here, barking and barking. So that's woke me up, and I thought, I'm awake now. It's nearly 6. Not a lot of point going back to bed. So I've put the kettle on instead. Just gonna have a quick brew and then literally pack and go. I'll come back to you. Right, the sun's coming up. That's everything packed. All clean and tidy behind me. No sign I've even been there. Of course, didn't have a fire. No signs of fire to hide or anything like that. It's been quite an easy, quick pack up. We are now just approaching 7 o'clock. It's time for me to get out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.